Our lives are determined by what is in our subconscious. The subconscious is like a field. You reap what you sow. Most people sow almost unconsciously. The thoughts you have unconsciously create your life. If you have a lot of bad thoughts, you will have a bad life. And if you have a lot of good thoughts, you will have a good life. That is why your life unfolds without you even knowing it. We have life. This life has two opposing energies. They are positive energy and negative energy. The Taejuk of Korea national flag is that. Here, negative energy attracts the external world to the five senses and creates a world of experience called I-ego. In other words, a new being called I-ego is drawn on the blank page of life. This is the birth of I-ego. Something that was not there is newly created. Death is the death of this. Life energy is originally an energy that is neither born nor dies. It is the eternal energy of the Alpha and Omega that Jesus spoke of. The law of constancy of energy was only discovered late in science. The I-ego born in this way has a duality like a blade. The great civilization of mankind came from here, and all the evils of mankind originated from here. Our I-ego, which is a collection of experiences, acts as thought based on what it has experienced. Thought is mainly done through language, and this language is something we learned as we grew up, and without this experience we cannot think. Therefore, thinking is the function of I-ego. This is self-consciousness, the conscious function that we perform. Also, life has positive energy. This is an expanding energy that governs our actions. This is our soul, which is our unconsciousness. It is this unconsciousness that determines our lives. This unconsciousness creates our reality. So how can we make our unconsciousness create the reality that we want? We just have to imprint what we want on our unconsciousness. Now let's learn how to imprint. There are three ways. First, repetition. Second, shock. Third, belief. First, repetition. What we think or do repeatedly is imprinted on our subconscious. When it is imprinted on our subconscious, we act without realizing it. Then, reality begins to change. What is imprinted on our soul is easily translated into action. All habits are created by imprinting on our soul through repeated thoughts or actions. There are negative and positive habits: alcohol, cigarettes, games, drugs, gambling, fishing, golf, various hobbies and sports. When we learn a new instrument, it is difficult at first, but if we keep repeating, we can do it without looking at the music score. The same goes for driving. If we keep repeating anything, we will reach the level of mastery. That is why repetition is a good way to imprint on our subconscious. But you have to make sure that something good is imprinted. That is the shortcut to creating a happy life. It is really hard to get rid of bad habits. When the power of life is 100, the power of the unconscious is about 70. So it is difficult to overcome the power of the unconscious with the power of the self-consciousness ego of 30. Therefore, we must be careful not to repeat bad habits in the first place. There is a reason why it has to be repeated like this to be realized in reality. If our thoughts became reality as soon as we thought about them, the whole world would be turned upside down and chaos would occur. What would the world be like if we died? The moment we thought, "I want to die because things were too hard?" That is why it has to be repeated so that it is imprinted on the soul. However, when we die and go to the world of the soul, our thoughts become reality as soon as we think about them. I will talk about this later. Second, shock. There are times when we encounter shocking situations as we live our lives. For example, War or accidents are representative examples. Among soldiers who experienced war, such as the Vietnam War or the Korean War, there are many cases where the extreme shock of war became trauma, and they were unable to properly live in reality. Also, people who survived terrible fire scenes, people who survived terrible traffic accidents or airplane crashes, people who experienced unexpected shocking accidents of their family members. All of these people suffer severe trauma from the shock, the wounds of the heart that frequently come to mind in dreams, or even in real life, do not heal well. This is because they are so deeply imprinted in the subconscious. Third, faith. Most of these beliefs are based on religious beliefs. Beliefs created by being so firm in their faith in the religion they believe in are also imprinted in the unconscious. If there is no doubt about that belief will become reality. People call this a miracle, but it is the result of our unconscious mind working. When we die, the I ego formed by our experiences is something that was not there before. So it is like a wave that temporarily appears in the sea of life. So just as waves return to the original sea, I ego also returns to its original life energy with our death. Therefore, after death, I ego disappears, and the thoughts that I ego causes disappear as well. Then, only our unconsciousness, the soul, remains, and a dreamlike world unfolds only in what is imprinted in the unconsciousness. People who have bad imprints in their unconsciousness will continue to have bad dreams. For example, gangsters who were involved in gangster life continue to have dreams of killing and fighting even after death. This is because it has become a habit and has been imprinted in their soul. Hell is something that we create ourselves. The world after our death has no separate address. It means that there is no specific hell or heaven. You live in your own world. Because of this, you have to live well when you are alive. This is the true meaning of the saying, "You reap what you sow." And in the world after we die, what we think comes true immediately. If we think about food, food appears immediately. And if we think about a car appears immediately. Our thoughts become reality immediately. However, the problem is that we can freely think of those thoughts while we are alive. But we cannot freely think of them after we die, when we are chased by a mad dog in our dreams. If we just say, "Mad dog, go away," it will disappear immediately, but we cannot think of it. Since the soul is in an unconscious state, it unfolds like a dream without us knowing. That is why we cannot help but continue to live in a nightmare-like reality. When we are alive, we are conscious as an observer, who can objectively observe the situation and change the situation consciously. But in the world of the soul after death, since we are in an unconscious state, there is no observer who can be conscious of and think about our own state, so we cannot change the situation. Even if a mad dog chases us, so in the case of the gangsters mentioned above, their subconscious mind is filled with the fear that they might be attacked by another organization, stabbed, or killed at any time. And this unconsciously acts like a nightmare, and a hellish reality unfolds endlessly before their eyes. This is hell. Imagine experiencing this for years and decades. So when they can no longer endure the pain, the method they choose is reincarnation. When they are reborn, they become unconscious again and live as another I ego through new experiences. In other words, life energy continues without change, and another life unfolds anew on top of that life energy. In order for us to escape this repetitive life, We must ultimately find the world of eternal energy, that is, love life. All the videos I uploaded are guides to that path. If you are truly interested in this path, please watch the videos in order from video 1 on the playlist.